Secretary of Defense Lloyd J, who of course was had a cancer surgery, prostate cancer surgery in December, is back in the hospital due to a bladder issue. This took place over the weekend. It's a non-surgical procedure. Pentagon Press Secretary Major General Ryder is providing update on Austin's condition.
According to Secretary Austin's doctors, after a series of tests and evaluations, he was admitted yesterday evening into the critical care unit at Walter Reed for supportive care and close monitoring. Now, shortly before today's briefing, we released an update from the Secretary's doctors at Walter Reed regarding his status. And to ensure everyone here today and those watching have the same information, I will read that full statement. This is a statement from Dr. John Maddox, Trauma Medical Director, and Dr. Gregory Chestnut, Center for Prostate Disease Research of the Murtha Center, Director at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center in Bethesda, Maryland. Beginning the statement, quote, Secretary of Defense Lloyd J. Austin III underwent non-surgical procedures under general anesthesia to address his bladder issue. We anticipate a successful recovery and will closely monitor him overnight. A prolonged hospital stay is not anticipated. We anticipate the Secretary will be able to resume his normal duties tomorrow. The current bladder issue is not expected to change his anticipated full recovery. His cancer prognosis remains excellent, end quote. Moving forward, we will continue to provide updates as new information becomes available regarding Secretary Austin's status, and we all certainly wish him a speedy recovery. In the meantime, Secretary Austin will no longer travel to Brussels this week as originally scheduled.
Secretary Austin, of course, was supposed to testify before the House Armed Services Committee on February 29th regarding his previous hospitalization and the failure to notify senior congressional leaders as well as the White House. Joining me right now, my panel, Dr. Julianne Malveaux, economist, president emerita of Bennett College. She joins us out of D.C. Dr. Amakongo Dibinga, senior professorial lecturer, School of International Service at American University, also out of D.C. Renita Shannon, former Georgia State Representative out of Atlanta. Glad to have all three of you here. Renita, I want to start with you. The reality is this here. Secretary Austin made a huge mistake initially when he failed to notify the White House and Congress. Now he's back in the hospital. They put in place the proper notification, so we got that over the weekend. And look, this is one of those things that we talk about. Black men, prostate cancer, issues that we face. I mean, look, we just lost Dexter King to prostate cancer. This is one of those issues that we talk about. And so we're glad to see that, again, he's having it addressed. But they have to do the right thing in notifying key personnel because he serves in one of the most important positions in all of government.
Absolutely. And this is an unfortunate update that the secretary is having, issues, medical issues, again, that are continuing to dog him. But I am happy to hear, that he is expected to make a full recovery. I also think that it's important that we do, give credit that they did hear the prior concerns about not being transparent about his health, which we saw, I think it was a couple months ago, maybe a month ago or so. So I do appreciate that they have, put in process a way to keep the public, up to date and being transparent about his health issues. So I do think that's important because a lot of times, definitely the public has a lot of criticisms for elected officials and for government. But it is important that when criticisms are lodged and then you see changes in elected officials, that is also uplifted. So I'm happy to see that transparency is back. We've got an update. But it is unfortunate that he's continuing to have health issues, and I wish him well.
Amakongo, again, he's a private individual. He was very private. But this is one of those things that I think if he goes public and he talks about this, it could have an impact on other men, especially black men, who are afraid to deal with their prostate cancer issues.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look at the other legend we lost, as it relates to Joe Madison as well. And, the fact of the matter is people who know Lloyd Austin, Secretary Austin, who have known him long as he's always been a private person, they kind of assumed that things like this were going to happen. And he's been a little bit more vocal about it, but he clearly has discomfort in talking about it. And I hope that the fact of the matter is that those of us out here, like what we're doing tonight, we're not saying, oh, my gosh, here we go again. He should resign. We're using this as a wake up call call for our community. And so given that he is most likely not going to get out and speak up as much on this as we like, we have the ability to amplify his voice and his situation, because like you said, with Dexter King, and so many others, this is something that we're getting real time reminders of how serious and deadly this is. And so I hope that we continue to use our platforms to amplify this and speak about the whole totality of this, because other people are saying, oh my gosh, he should resign right now. And given what's happening with the House and Senate right now, they're not even going to confirm someone else. So it's just going to throw more aspects of the government in limbo if he was to do something like that. And I think he's mindful of it. And President Biden is also mindful of it as well. But going off of Vanita's point, the fact of the matter is the most important thing is his health. And we have to use this to make sure that we're amplifying this as another reason, another cautionary tale for us to get out there and get the testing that we need to be able to take care of ourselves and do early prevention.
Julian, again, we're glad to see that he is getting the help that he needs. But this is also, frankly, for people out there who are voters, a political issue. Because he's Secretary of Defense, he has absolutely great health care. But you have Republicans in this country who want to get rid of the Affordable Care Act, have no actual replacement. And this is the kind of thing that people need to understand. If Trump wins and if Republicans would control the House and the Senate, they will get rid of the Affordable Care Act. And the reality is that has played a crucial role in African-American being uninsured has dropped tremendously. And now only less than 9% of the country is uninsured. And so, look, they get great free health care, but we've got to make sure that policy-wise we are protecting health care for regular, ordinary citizens.
Absolutely, Roland. And not only that, most of us are insured one way or another. But what kind of insurance do we have? I interviewed a woman this morning who leads an organization called RIP Medical Debt. They're buying up people's medical debt because nearly 50% of all Americans have some medical debt. I just had a fall recently, and so I had to get an MRI, make sure I wasn't crazy. They did not confirm that, but I'm okay, which is a blessing. But my copay for the MRI was $700. It's 10% of the cost. Obviously, I had it, thank you, Lord, but everybody doesn't. And the guy said to me, well, you don't have to have an MRI. Okay, I fell, I split my lip, hit myself upside the head. Yes, I needed an MRI. And lots of people, what this woman was saying to me today is that a lot of people have to make that decision. If they're confronted with the decision, you have to pay the copay. They might say, okay, never mind. And that's how we end up with people dying before they should die, because they have conditions that they basically could not afford to deal with. So we need better health care, not worse. And the Lloyd Austin story both reminds us about the situation of health care in our country. And Roland, the organizations called RIP Medical Debt, they buy up medical debt at pennies on the dollar, and then they send people letters and say, your medical debt is taken care of. Isn't that's a beautiful concept. But we have that. We have the whole issue of prescription drugs. And again, if the Orange Man is elected, what will we do about insulin and other things that African-American people need? But mostly, as I hear about this story and as I followed it today, I just wish Brother Austin the best. He's an amazing human being who served our country in the military and has served as Secretary of Defense. And although I'm sure that his deputies can do a decent job, what I'm concerned about is where we are internationally. We have a fool who's sicking Russia on our allies. I mean, just an unblemished fool who's doing that. And we still have issues in Ukraine and Israel. And so, while we say all we can about putting Brother Austin's situation in context, we also have to remind ourselves how crucial he is to President Biden at this point in time.
Yep. And real quick here, in October, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau also was looking at devising rules that will remove medical debt from credit reports. And remember, who has adamantly opposed the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau? Republicans. And so I need people to understand that elections, there are many tentacles involved here. And this is a perfect example where, again, elected officials, people in the administration, they get free health care. Americans don't. We got to make sure that we get as close to the same type of health care that they have. And so we certainly wish Secretary Austin good health and a great recovery.